Welcome on behalf of Cinnamon Hotels and Resorts to Asia's first ever Travel Bloggers Conference. Now, if you had a little glance on your way in at the agenda, you realize that we have quite an exciting lineup of speakers lined up for today. So today is going to be, quite a learning experience for all of us. And I tell you why this conference is unique. Is one, because it's Asia's first ever, but it's also speaking to some of my friends from the PDBA. They say that the conference format has never been done before, where we actually included a pre-conference tour for them as well. So I was just taking the Twitter analytics before I got up on stage, and I saw that there were actually more than 3,000 posts just on that experience in Sri Lanka so far before the conference even started. So let's have a look at what they've been up to during these past few days.
Spaceship at the speed of light, I'm gonna make it. I know you've been expecting me. Turn on the cameras, take another scene. We go like hands up, people, get with the show. We're taking over, people lose control. In the decks, my DJ preaching my soul. Aim for the stars, my people, we never fall. Yes, I'm an alien when I'm touching the earth. Call me a spaceman when I travel universe. Yes, I'm an alien when I'm touching the earth. Call me a spaceman when I travel universe. Call me a spaceman. 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 Through the Milky Way in my spaceship at the speed of light, I'm gonna make it. I know you've been expecting me. Turn on the cameras, take another scene. We go like hands up, people, get with the show. We're taking over, people lose control. In the decks, my DJ preaching my soul. Aim for the stars, my people, we never fall. Yes, I'm an alien when I'm touching the earth. Call me a spaceman when I travel universe. Yes, I'm an alien When I'm touching the earth, call me a spaceman. When I travel universe, call me a spaceman. Call me a spaceman. Call me a spaceman. Call me a spaceman.
There we go. There we go. As much as those images show that Sri Lanka is a beautiful country, which we are all proud to be living in, we've tried and tested. Sri Lanka is a very current in social media terms. So it's been a great pre-conference tour. We had a lot of fun with them, and the blog will probably that as well. And one of the questions that run up to the organizing of this conference, a lot of people asked me and our team, was that how did you? And, one of the reasons was that, just talk from here, and what we said was, they were asking us, how do we select these bloggers? And there's only one answer. Cinnamon Hotels and Resorts partnered up with the Professional Travel Bloggers Association, and we are very grateful for them for coming on board and jointly organizing this conference with us, helping us to select the bloggers, as well as invite the speakers as well. So I'd like to invite on stage, our first guest up on stage, the chairman of the PTBA, the Professional Travel Bloggers Association, Craig Martin. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together.
Good morning. It's going to be a great day today, and I'm super excited to be here both personally and on behalf of the Professional Travel Bloggers Association. We've had an excellent few days, and what we've been doing in this case is trialing a new model, not only working with a destination and working with our partners here, Sri Lankan Airlines, without whom we just wouldn't be here today, because we'd still be in New Zealand, we'd still be in Rome, we'd still be in London, we'd still be in the Philippines. People have come from all over the world, from the Asia-Pacific region, from the Americas, and from Europe to be here in Sri Lanka. And it's just been fantastic to have them on board as our transport providers. The role of the Professional Travel Blogging Association is to help industry and destinations work with new media producers and travel bloggers, and also to help travel bloggers raise their game, help them professionalize their businesses and their enterprises. And so what we've done here is trial a new model in which we're embedding learning opportunities, micro workshops, and peer networking into a press trip, as well as doing the formal style conference that we have here today. And so this has been months and months of planning with the PTBA organizing committee, consisting of Michael Hodson and Lawrence Nora. And they've been spearleading everything with help from the rest of the board and other PTBA members. Also, we can't say enough about Cinnamon Hotels and Resorts, who have given us not only this wonderful venue, but also provided all of the on-the-ground work with them and their partners around the country. and brought us all out here today. I also want to thank Mobitel, because if there's one thing that 40 to 50 travel bloggers need, it's a connection to the internet. And from the first morning, we've had SIM cards which have given us access to be able to tweet, to be able to publish stories on Instagram, on Facebook, across various social networks, as well as on our blogs. And that's what's been able to produce the amazing amount of content and just taken so much stress out of us, away from us as content producers. Canon's also come on board, and many of our members are shooting with Canon. I'm sure you would have seen many of those impressive lenses in the video there. And so thank you to them for coming on board and being a sponsor as well as all of the other partners on the ground. So I want to stay short, but if you'd like to find out more about us, please feel free to come and see me during the breaks or any of our blogger members. And you can also see our website at travelbloggersassociation.com, which is where you can find out more and look at some of the educational resources that we've got for bloggers working with industry working with bloggers, and take part of it in a membership there. So thank you very much for coming. I'm very excited about the program today, and I hope you have an excellent time. Thank you.
Thanks, Craig. It's been great having you guys. Craig actually took the words out of my mouth. One of the first questions that when we spoke to them next, that they raised was, no, it's not going to be possible. These bloggers are spread across the world. You're not going to be able to host them in one country, especially in Sri Lanka. It's too far. It's not going to be possible. And once again, we had only one answer, one solution to making that a possibility. That was none other than our national carrier, which is Sri Lankan Airlines. And Sri Lankan Airlines, just want to mention a couple of things. They've been promoting the destination and has been spearheading the destination promotion of Sri Lanka right throughout, both in good times like we are in now, and as well as the troubled times, which probably we would have faced a few years back as well. So we are very grateful for them for partnering with Cinnamon Hotels and Resorts in organizing this event, because no one else would have done it. And frankly, the bloggers themselves were surprised, because no airline has taken this step forward in realizing and identifying the importance of them and hosting such a big conference. So I would like to recognize the presence of the chairman of Sri Lankan Airlines as well as the CEO, and I'd like to next invite up on stage none other than the Sri Lankan Airlines chairman, Mr. Nishanta Wickramasinghe.
Hi, everyone. Very good morning to all of you all, ladies and gentlemen. Deputy Chairman, John Keys Holdings, Mr. Ajit Gunawardena, all the celebrated travel bloggers present here today with us, distinguished guests, and my dear friends. I take this opportunity to welcome you for Asia's first Travel Bloggers Conference, and I hope you have had a memorable journey so far in the caring hands of Cinnamon Hotels and Resorts. As a national carrier, Sri Lankan Airlines is truly privileged to become the official airline of this event, where Sri Lanka will be under the global spotlight once again. According to Marco Polo, the infamous travel logger, Sri Lanka is the finest island of its size in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, having toured around the country, discovering the beauty of the island, I'm sure you would have realized that what is written and documented about Sri Lanka in travel literature are not just flowery words, but the truth. So, today you're here, having tasted the true essence of the islandness Sri Lanka has to offer, richer than what you were when you arrived to this beautiful island. And some of you may have already blogged about it. At a time when media is taking precedence over mainstream media, we as a country that realizes the tourism industry, the importance of tourism industry to our island, need to realign our communication strategies so that we could reach to a wide variety of travelers. in the digital age today, I believe that raising awareness through the most frequented social media platforms is as important as carrying out a fully blown promotional campaign. It goes without saying that blogs have become one of the most prominent sources of inspiration to the travelers. It narrows down endless opportunities such as sites, destinations, and hotels. Blogs have also become a good sharing space for the travel adventure. Ladies and gentlemen, having said that, Sri Lanka is here to learn the full worth of blogging and bloggers, and this, I hope, will provide as an ideal platform to bring together many of those who are interested in promoting Sri Lanka in the cyberspace, and through that we genuinely attempt as a traveler to experience the beauty of this country. I take this opportunity to thank John Keels and Cinnamon Hotels for organizing, and mainly Mr. Ajit Gunawardana, who has inspired and planned all these things, because I just was a while ago seated next to him, I realized the importance when he showed me the actual figures, the numbers of strikes that have been made during the last 4 days. Unbelievable, but I now realize the importance and the penetration, market penetration that could be made through the bloggers. Having said that, this island has a lot to offer to traveler. You need to look beyond the stereotypical beach holiday resorts. Discover the spectacular blend of flora and fauna which makes this a modern day Eden. I saw on the screen a while ago the destinations, the places you all have visited, the beautiful landscapes, the beautiful wildlife that you all have witnessed, and I'm sure you are definitely sent back home and to the global, internationally, what Sri Lanka has to offer and which no other country could offer. Then there are always ancient historic kingdoms that are still stand in all their splendor. These architectural marvels that can never tire a photograph from clicking. Sri Lanka cuisine that attempts you to keep calling back, which I saw on the screen. You are enjoying the hospitality and the cuisine in our hotels. And most of all, the people whom you will always remember as the friendliest and the ones with the brightest smiles. I'm sure you'd have experienced this no sooner you stepped into one of our aircrafts with our crew. This is the tale of Sri Lanka that you will never ever tired of telling. Ladies and gentlemen, Sri Lanka today is experiencing a great development of the tourism sector, and its contribution to the national economy keeps improving by the day, with many infrastructure developments taking place in this country. Sri Lanka is in a position to facilitate any type of traveler. Since the end of the war, Sri Lanka has become flourishing under the visionary leadership of His Excellency President Mahinda Rajapaksa. With many international hospitality giants such as Shangri-La, Sheraton planning to enter the Sri Lankan market. The country has also can also today boast of highways and a railway system which offers the convenience to reach any place in the island within less than a day. Ladies and gentlemen, as a national carrier, we also take this pride. We take pride in operating to a country's second international airport situated in the southern of Sri Lanka, surrounding many beach getaways and wildlife sanctuaries. I'm sure you all have all visited these destinations. This is the ideal stopover point for any leisure traveler. Sri Lanka is armed with every modernity to facilitate any type of traveler from all corners of the world, all the while keeping intact the unspoiled rustic charm of the island has been known for. As a blogger, you have an authentic, uncompromising voice. You narrate what you see and feel and always stay true to your words. Authentic travel accounts such as yours can be as effective or sometimes even more effective than marketing a brochure or an advertisement in the campaign, during the campaign in newspapers. It does not take a lengthy lecture or a magazine article to attract someone to explore this country. A blog entry, ladies and gentlemen, of a few words or a single picture can as strong as a pictorial on a magazine. Travel blogging has become a thing of yesterday. Travel logging has become a thing of yesterday, and travel blogging has become the norm today. And as a national carrier, Sri Lankan Airlines, we are more than happy to carry any traveler who wishes to explore the island and its beauties. Ladies and gentlemen, I am confident that the free conference tours, the places you have visited, and the people you have interacted must have created a lasting impression in you. I was very happy and proud when I saw that small script on the screen today, where the places you all have visited, and I'm sure you all have enjoyed every moment of your stay in Sri Lanka. I hope your blog reports, your photo essays will provide inspiration for many to explore this island and experience the beauty of the island. I take this opportunity to thank Cinnamon Hotels, Resorts for taking the initiative to bring these travel bloggers together. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish you all happy blogging. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nishanta. And there you go, a brief but very detailed explanation on what travel blogging has and the potential of travel blogging in today's marketing sphere. It is very important to have a collaboration with both the private sector and the public sector in promoting a destination. And for that, we are very thankful, especially to the representatives and the officials of Sri Lanka Tourism Promotion Bureau, as well as the Sri Lanka Convention Bureau, who is here today with us. And we'd like to invite up on stage the Managing Director of the Sri Lanka Tourism Promotion Bureau, Mr. Rumi Jaufer, to share his opening remarks.
Distinguished guests, officials from Cinnamon Hotels and Resorts, Chairman of Sri Lanka Airlines and the CEO. On behalf of Sri Lanka Tourism Promotion Bureau, the Ministry of Economic Development, I'm pleased to welcome the travel bloggers here in Sri Lanka. Few of them, I met them during the WTM bloggers networking, and I'm happy to see them back in Sri Lanka here. Welcome again. As everyone knows, the tourism promotion has taken a new shape by way of internet. Many countries, China, Indonesia, India, how do we get our message across to the travel community? Rather, we call them citizens, or now we call them netizens, because always on their Androids looking what's new. So I think it's appropriate and a timely act, and the initiative taken by Cinnamon Hotels and Resorts to have the first Travel Bloggers Conference of Asia in Sri Lanka. I would warm-heartedly thank the management of Cinnamon Hotels and Resorts in initiating this event. And I would also like to inform Sri Lanka Tourism and the Ministry of Economic Development will continue to support the initiative of the private sector, as we did with this conference. And a personal message from the Honorable Minister of Economic Development, the subject minister in charge of tourism, is also to be conveyed to all the visiting travel bloggers here, that welcome to Sri Lanka, and make sure that it's your Sri Lanka. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rumi. When you walked into the conference, you would have seen a lovely video of some of Sri Lanka's most scenic locations being played on screen. And that was the Sri Lanka Tourism Promotion Bureau video, and that just goes to show how much of it that we have to market out to the world. We'd like to recognize also one of our key partners for this event, our telecommunication partner. Mobitel has partnered with us for the event even before the conference started. They provided us and all the bloggers with the connections, the data requirement for the conference. And it is as a result of them that we have so much of presence online and on the social media sphere. So I'd like to thank Mobitel very much for that kind gesture, and like to invite the CEO of Mobitel PSC, Mr. Ranjit G. Rubasinghe.
Superior online gaming, HD video streaming, fastest download speeds, contactability, the fastest growing mobile 4G LTE network in Sri Lanka. Mobitel, we care, always.
Ayubowan. Good morning to everybody. Deputy Chairman John Kales Ajit, Chairman Sri Lankan, and other distinguished guests, Chairman PTBA. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity and also giving the opportunity to Mobitel be partnered with this fantastic event. I must thank the Chairman PTBA for appreciating our network and this connectivity. Thank you so much. And it's a privilege to hear your comments on that. Knowing that the time constraint, and also knowing that you are not putting attention to me, but you are putting your attention to devices in your hand, which just seamlessly connect to the internet through the Mobitel connections. I'll cut short my prepared speech, by the way. So as the national mobile service provider, Mobitel is proud to be the official communication partner of an initiative such as this. Actually, it opens a window of opportunities, harness local business prospects, enrich cultural engagement and educational insight on the pearl of the Indian Ocean, and what it has to offer to its travelers. I think our chairman, Sri Lankan Airlines, explained everything very much better than anybody else with his fantastic experience. With the growing global dependence on online data and access to real-time information, travelers are increasingly turning to travel, adventure and food blogs in search of best locations to visit and enjoy. We know that you are the only party that can carry information without regulations. You are not regulated by anybody. I invite you to just add Mobitel in your blogs, which our regulator won't be able to regulate at any moment. To meet the growing ICT demands of a flourishing tourism industry in Sri Lanka, Mobitel has already forged a path for travelers by providing speedy access to information and innovative features designed for travelers and their handheld devices. Mobitel has also infused its resource, capacity and expertise with the travel and tourism industries in the country to develop more effective and innovative means of attracting travel and tourism in Sri Lanka. This special initiative is just as significant, and I hope that you enjoy the experience of traveling across Sri Lanka and blogging your way through the journey. Mobitel has committed to provide mobile connections for 50 of the best bloggers from around the world, along with the broadband connectivity that you have access to enjoy right at this moment as well. I am confident that the Travel Bloggers Conference will provide Sri Lanka the opportunity to receive valuable and immense exposure internationally, and I hope that going forward we can strengthen our ties with you to sway the world's focus towards travel and tourism in Sri Lanka through technology and social media to attract travelers to the country. So we welcome you guys again and again to see this beautiful island At the same time, we are ready to serve you better than what you have experienced today. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity.
If you take a look at the event logo, you would see a whole list of other sponsors and partners who have joined with us. So we'd like to, at this point, say a very big thank you to all of you who have helped us in numerous ways. And due to time constraints, of course, we can't have you all up on stage. But on behalf of Cinnamon Hotels and Resorts, I'd next like to invite the President of the leisure sector, Cinnamon Hotels and Resorts, as well as the Deputy Chairman of John Keel's Holdings, Ms. Ajit Gunawardena, to take up the speech and welcome you all.
Firstly, welcome. On behalf of Cinnamon Hotels and Resort, let me warmly welcome all of you, the distinguished speakers who spoke before me, the PTBA and the travel bloggers, who have really shown us that our decision to host this conference was more than justified. Our partners, especially Sri Lankan Airlines and Mobitel, without whom this event would not have been a possibility, and all of those who have gathered here at Asia's first ever travel bloggers conference. So I'll keep this speech short, again dispense with what I had prepared, and just speak about a few things that why we feel this was justified. Firstly, according to the latest statistics, 68% of travelers seek inspiration online prior to booking a trip, and 43% of holidaymakers use social media on holiday. So we have no choice but to integrate with the digital world. Even at the World Travel Market in London a few weeks back, we saw a bloggers networking session being organized, and today we will have a similar session at the end of this conference. Within the past few days, Cinnamon Hotels and Resorts have been hosting the travel bloggers on a tour around some of Sri Lanka's most popular tourist destinations, which was shown earlier, as well as our resorts. And the social media analytics that we have received have been phenomenal. To give you a brief insight on what this really means, there have been over 3,000 tweets, this was mentioned earlier, with 3 million reach and 14 million impressions on the hashtag TBCasia on Twitter within the past few days alone. We at Cinnamon Hotels and Resorts are going to focus virtually all our promotions and presence via the digital media going forward. Throughout the course of the day, we'll be learning more of how travel blogging and digital marketing will play a part in the success of our brands and Sri Lanka as a destination. I hope this will give you a greater understanding on how to use these tools effectively in order to create synergies across the Sri Lankan travel and tourism industry. Ladies and gentlemen, I will conclude now so that we can get on with the program. I would like to thank you once again for being here, and let's look forward to a very productive day. And in conclusion, I will show you a clip of what Cinnamon Hotels and Resorts is about in terms of the future, and how we believe that how we will be part of the future tourism of Sri Lanka and create what would be a modern and unique destination. This is a project that we are investing in, that has begun construction, will be opened in 4 years' time, between 4.5 years' time, in the center of Colombo. Have a look. Thank you.
Now, Mr. Gunodana, that is where I would like to work in 4 years. The waterfront project, ladies and gentlemen, and actually I mentioned the same thing to him in a forum, and what his response was, your job is to sell that space, not to occupy it. So there we have it. Our sponsors as well, who took up the stage and explained and gave a brief introduction of why this event is so important. So we will move on to our keynote address, which you've probably been waiting for all this time. Our keynote speaker is the editor of BBC Travel. I can just stop there, but I'll just give a brief introduction. A site dedicated to inspire readers to experience the world. She has worked in the New York Times travel section and National Geographic Traveler. She has also spoken at TBCasia and Social Media Week on topics such as intersection of digital trends. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Ms. Alison Bukasa.
Hi, everyone. Just going to set up a quick PowerPoint presentation for you. Can everyone hear me okay? Yes? I'm Italian, so I tend to be a little loud. All right, I'm ready to go here if we're ready to go there. Perfect. All set. Okay, thank you so much. A warm welcome to Asia's first ever Travel Bloggers Conference. I am thrilled to be here. And as Mayvon said, I'm Alison Busaka. I'm the editor of BBC Travel. I'm here today to talk to you about content, specifically good content, and how good content can both help you connect with your audiences more effectively and save time, money, and effort in the long run. I figured a good way to frame this conversation was to tell you first how BBC Travel views content creation. We believe that in many ways, unfortunately, the world and news media have become an incredibly negative place, and many traditional travel publications have followed suit. It's all about baggage fees and flight delays, blackout dates, and how long it takes to get somewhere. Travel, in many ways, has become a hassle. It's become something to figure out as opposed to something to enjoy. But the truth of the matter is that it won't matter that it took you 14 hours to get there if you're sitting in a Zodiac in the Galapagos Islands watching a mother orca teach her baby orca how to hunt for the very first time. It won't matter that the ticket was $100 more than you thought it was going to be when you're sipping on a Chimay in Chimay, having your favorite beer in the place in which it was created. Many travel sites have forgotten about this experience of travel, this wonder, this awe that I know everyone in this room experiences when we step off the plane. In this world of unfortunately negative news, top 10 lists, meaningless roundups, we've really forgotten how to celebrate the people, places, and experiences that make this world such a wonderfully diverse place. BBC Travel aims to bring that celebration back. We use immersive narratives, stunning photography, and artful storytelling to inspire readers to fall in love with a destination, even if they've been there before. When I was originally asked to give this keynote speech, I thought a lot about how to approach such a broad topic with such a wide-ranging audience. It's not often that we get travel bloggers, traditional media, and the tourism industry in the same room. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that we are all content creators. We all have a message that we're aiming to convey to an audience. And because of that, the core of what makes good content is really the same for us all. We had the opportunity a few years ago, actually 1 year ago, to do a really unique process at BBC Travel. We had the opportunity to do something called a unique selling proposition rework, a USP rework. And what that essentially was the idea of seeing what worked, more importantly, what didn't work, with the aim of elevating our content offering and helping to differentiate ourselves in the market. This process is something that I think all content creators should go through. It's a process that a year later has resulted in a 60% traffic growth year on year and a double in our social followings. Perhaps even more importantly than that, it's a process that allowed us to focus our efforts and produce less content on a daily basis therefore saving us time, effort, and money in the commissioning process. I know we all come from strict budgets, we all come from small staffs, and the content that we're putting out has to matter. It has to make an impact. Well, this process helped us do exactly that. So, what is this process? Well, it starts with 5 key questions. What is content? Who is your audience, and what do they want? Admittedly, that's 2 questions in one. What content works? How is your content different? And what is your unified voice? The first step is, for any of your brands, figuring out what content means to you. So for BBC Travel, at the very start, we considered content anything that existed on the site. Articles, slideshows, videos. But as we went through this process, and as I think we all go through this process, we realized that content is anything that we're using to convey a message. It can be a TV commercial. It can be an ad unit. It could be a tweet. It could be an Instagram. It could be a 6-second Vine video. Content is any way in which we all speak to our audiences. Look at Tourism Australia, for example, which is the screenshot on the upper right-hand side of the screen. Tourism Australia has dominated Instagram. They have 950,000 followers. They are speaking directly to 950,000 people on a daily basis. I guarantee that they would consider Instagram a part of their content creation plan. As the blogger Young Adventurous correctly pointed out to me, they only have a staff of about 2 or 3 people putting out content on a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week basis. And the way that they do this is incredibly smart. They view the 900,000 people in the Australian tourism industry and the 23 million people living in Australia as part of their team. All of the content that goes out on Tourism Australia is user-generated, and it's an incredibly inspiring place that communicates directly to their audience on a daily basis. Another good example that I like to point out is Humans of New York, and these are the 2 screenshots on the left-hand side. This is essentially a platform that started out as a blog. It's focused on personalities and people throughout New York City. It was so successful as a Tumblr blog that it expanded to an incredibly successful Facebook feed. And it has since expanded its remit to the entire world. Now, what I really love about this is it shows that content does not have to be long. Good content does not mean a 2,000-word piece or a 30-minute documentary. Humans of New York tells a story with just a very poignant quote and an excellently shot portrait. So, for example, the screen on the bottom says, "We told her to sit with us so we could share in her sadness." Again, it's not long form, but it's really impactful. One of my favorite pieces of BBC travel content is actually a video that I shot, and it's not my favorite because I shot it, I promise. It's a video that I want to show you. It's very, very short, and it took place in South Georgia Island, which is an island off of the coast of Antarctica that only 6,000 people go to a year. I like it because I think it's an example of how we can all bring moments to our readers. We can all transport them to a place, even in 15 seconds, and show them something that they may never get the chance to see, or inspire them to finally make the effort to see it themselves. And do we know how to play the video? Maybe not? I can tell you what happens. Essentially, it's an adorable video of a fur seal pup that pretends to charge me and just jumps up and down a lot. Technical difficulties aside, now that we know what content is, right? It's anything that we can use to convey a message. The next step is figuring out who we're speaking to and what they want. So when travel underwent this process, when BBC Travel underwent this process, we did a lot of audience research using pulse surveys and kind of looking at our Facebook and Twitter analytics. You can glean a lot from your audience just by using those tools. We found out that 60% are under the age of 45, 56% are male, 44% are female. We have a pretty even range geographically around the world, and we're attracting professionals in affluent managerial roles. We know that they want to discover new things. They want to experience a different culture. And they're planning on traveling to a different continent. They are a culturally curious global audience. And in many ways, that mirrors what we know global travelers want. We know that for travelers all across the world, experiences matter. Travelers are really looking for holidays that enrich, educate, and inspire. We also know that Uber luxury is a universal desire. While we understand that only the truly wealthy can experience this all the time, every traveler is looking to experience a vacation or a holiday with a slightly premium sheen. They're looking for ways to access it in any way they can. We also know that local insight is key. So travelers are really looking to brands that are placing an emphasis on living like a local, learning experiences like a local. And from just that alone, from just knowing your audience statistics, from knowing what they want, you start to learn what content makes sense. Since for us, if 60% of our audience is under 45 years old, we are not really attracting a student backpacker crowd. If we know that many of our audience is looking to travel to a different continent, we know that content on Paris is just as important as content on Mongolia. For all of you, your audience subsets are likely different. You can dig into your stats by doing free surveys with SurveyMonkey. You can dig into your own social analytics. I know there's a few sessions on your site analytics today that will be incredibly helpful in terms of showing you where your audience has come from. And the blogger Global Help Swap actually even spoke to me about sending out a newsletter and asking for feedback that way. Any way that you can start that communication with your readers, with your audience, to find out what they want is a process you should go through. So now that we know what content is, who our audience is, and what they want, we need to take a look at what content works. And so for this, we really did a content analysis. We looked directly at traffic. We took a compilation of kind of top 10 lists and practical stories, and we compared it directly against some of our more inspirational narratives. And what we found out was that inspirational stories outperformed practical stories by 78%. The numbers that you're looking at here are actually recent numbers, where a good travel story on BBC Travel used to get about 50,000 uniques. You can see with this new content direction where we're focusing on immersive storytelling and stunning photography, that's tracking with our audience tenfold, right? 50,000 to 424,000 uniques. That's telling us that the audience is really resonating with the messages that we're putting out. This is the feedback that you should be getting as you continue to hone your voice. To give you a bit of background about why we went through this content analysis, because many of you may say, we know who our audience is. We know that we're successful and we know the content that we're creating. BBC Travel was about 3 years old when we went through this process. We were a young brand, like many of you. We are a staff of 2, like many of you. And we were by all means successful. We were creating a good amount of content. Our traffic was growing. Our social followings were growing. And we were doing fine. The truth of the matter is that we weren't different. We weren't doing anything that really identified us in the market. We weren't doing anything distinct from any of our competitors. We were doing everything. We were doing top 10 lists. We were doing roundups. We were doing practical travel. We were doing business travel. So this process really helped us hone in on what made us different, which not only helps you respond better to the audience that you have, but it also helps you grow new audience as you go. Now, I know what you're saying. I can hear you thinking, top 10 lists don't work. What? For us, they don't. Our readers are looking for more context. Our readers are looking for us to transport them to Sri Lanka, not just give them a list of things to check off as they get there. And in many ways, it makes sense that armchair travel didn't have a place on the internet 5 years ago, 10 years ago. If you all think about it, we spend 8 hours a day sitting in front of a computer terminal. How many of you want to read an immersive narrative or be told a story while sitting at your computer typing like this? Not many, right? But what we're seeing actually is technology could change all that. We've already seen an explosion of smartphone use. Now what we're seeing is an explosion of tablet use. In 2012, 50 million people in the US owned a tablet. In 2013, worldwide tablet shipments grew at a rate of 142% year on year. Tablet use is actually growing 3 times faster than mobile use. 80% of tablet use is at home, and 73% rather access 2 to 3 pieces in one sitting. So this is not to say that everyone's content will thrive because tablets now exist. This is not to say that everyone should immediately go and develop a tablet-oriented website or publish content specifically for tablet. What this tells me is that readers are looking for new things online. Technology is allowing us to digest new storytelling formats online, and we're looking for more than those snacks. We're looking to take a deep dive. So now that we know who our audience is, we know what content is, we know what content works, we're looking at what content is different. How is our content different? Because it's not just enough to say that I have good content. You need to make sure that your content is different from your competitors. You need to give your audience a reason to come to you as opposed to anybody else. Now, specifically, these are BBC Travel's competitors. Yours are all going to be likely very, very different. And what's unique here is I split them up into 3 categories. We've got people that I think, or publications rather, that I think are doing similar types of journalism, Nat Geo, Traveler, and Afar. We have publications that we compete with in some ways, for advertising sometimes, for readership others, but really we're doing different things. And I think that's really smart to identify. And then you have people or brands that you'll compete with just largely by being in the same space. What's unique about this is that despite the fact that we have such a wide breadth of publications, they're all still doing everything for everyone. If you look at their digital properties, even National Geographic and Afar, which are amazing storytellers in their print publications, everyone's still doing the top 10 lists, the roundups, the practical information, the business travel information. Everyone's trying to be everyone, everything for everyone. We found that there is an untapped digital market for curious, intelligent travelers who want to learn about the world as much as they want to travel there. So now we know who we are. We know who we're speaking to. We know what types of content we're going to be creating. Now the question is, what's your unified voice? How are you going to keep this feeling, keep this content vision throughout all of the different forms of media that you're pointing out? This, for me, was the fun step. This is the part where you get to stop doing the types of things that don't work. So for example, for BBC Travel, top 10 lists don't work. We don't commission them anymore. Practical information doesn't work. We don't run it. We're already attracting a business traveler audience without needing to speak to them directly as a business traveler. We don't commission those sorts of pieces. This theory should also extend to any platform that you're on. I know all of us feel a need to be on every social platform, have a feel to be everywhere in the digital world. But for example, BBC Travel used to be on Tumblr, and we found that the effort we were putting in did not measure with the engagement and traffic that we were getting back out. Be on the networks that matter to you. Do the content that works for you. Saying no will not restrict your growth. Instead, saying no allows you the flexibility to focus on the things that work the best for you, and that will lead to reach. So how does BBC Travel do this? How do we inspire people to fall in love with the world? Well, we tell you stories about places you've never been, and we show you a new side to places you think you know. With an open mind, an eye for the surprising, and a global voice, we inspire readers to fall in love with the world. That's how BBC Travel creates content. The question is now, how will all of you? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alison. I think that was quite an enlightening speech. Many of us worry too much about our content, and most often than not, we are quite lost on exactly what will work. So as she said, we have to find out that niche that will work for us, and it might not be the niche that works for everyone. So the next combined session slot is dedicated to a couple who aim to inspire people to follow their dreams and push their boundaries. They are a writing photographer team who live by the motto, adventure is for everyone. And they classify themselves as traveling nomads. So please welcome on stage Dave and Deb from the Planet D.
Soft shoe, but he chickened out, so he's going to do all the technical. But while he's doing that, I thought I'd just tell you a little story about when we were in Sri Lanka. The last time we were here, it was 2010, and it was just after the unrest that was happening here. And we found it to be one of the most special places that we ever visited. We stayed here for a month, and we traveled around to all of the beautiful locations. And we made friends with a tuk-tuk driver named Ajit. And he ended up being the most wonderful man that we have ever met. We write about him a lot on our blog. And he took us to a school where he was giving shoes away to the school children. And he had been spending his time gathering all of this charity for other people when he had so little. And that just really meant a lot to us. And when people ask us what's our favorite country in the world, it's often Sri Lanka. That's our little note. So it was really exciting for us when we were invited back, because we were like, I just love this country so much, I can't wait to experience it again. And look at that. Dave is all set up, and we are ready to go. So thank you for having us. I think we are.
All right. Oh, excellent. It works. Fantastic. I'm better than I thought I was. So good morning, everybody. It's great to see such a great turnout here, and I hope everybody is ready for a great day of learning and inspiration. I know we are. We're really excited about this, and you know, we had such a great time over the past 4 days here in Sri Lanka, getting to know a lot of travel bloggers that we didn't know, but also connecting with old friends, and we really got to do it. And like Deb was saying, you know, Sri Lanka is such a beautiful country, and we're just fortunate enough to be able to do it here. And I do want to thank Cinnamon Hotels and the PTBA for putting together this this opportunity for us all to network together, talk about ideas, and really, you know, in a small setting, be able to put together ideas and talk about things that work for us and some things that don't. So with that, you know, we are Dave and Deb, as I said, from the planetd.com, and today we're here to talk to you about digital storytelling and how, you know, the blog post just isn't enough anymore. So before we get started and get into that, you know, we want to give you a little bit of background about our story and about who we are, so you can have an idea of how the Planet D got started.
Yeah, because our story is a very important part of our blog. Dave and I have been together for 23 years. I'm old enough to be some of these bloggers' mother, and that really stresses me out, okay? But we met back in 1991, and it was almost 10 years into our relationship that we took our very first trip in 2000, and we went to Thailand. Now, we were in a really rough place in our life then. We were drifting apart, we were focusing on our careers, we were both in the film business, we were working 18 hours a day, and we really didn't even know each other anymore. We were taking each other for granted, and we often say that if we didn't take that first trip, we would probably be divorced. But travel opened up a whole new world for us, and we spent 5 weeks in paradise. We did rock climbing and sea kayaking and trekking in the jungle, and we discovered that, hey, we love adventure. We had been doing nothing up until that point except for working and eating and going to see movies. So it was really exciting for us to find out that we had adventure in our lives. And during that time, we found out why we fell in love in the first place. We put a spark back into our marriage. And when we came home from 5 weeks in Thailand, we were renewed, we were excited, and we wanted to share that with everybody. And we spent the next few years traveling the world as much as we could. Work was secondary. We were out rock climbing on weekends. We were sea kayaking. We took up snowboarding and mountain biking, and we just had a great time. And every spare moment we had, we traveled. Now, we did that for 4 years. Cut to 7 years later, we were back in that rut again. We had found that we had spent our lives living two lives. We had 1 foot in the film business, 1 foot in the travel business, and we were like, we're not living a full life anymore. So it was about time we said that we make a decision. Are we going to go full steam into the film business, or are we going to travel? So that's when we decided to sign up for the world's longest cycling race to give it a try. And we cycled from Cairo to Cape Town. We had no experience cycling, but we thought, hey, let's go for it. That'll set us apart from everybody. And while we were doing that cycling race, that's when we discovered, yeah, this is what I want to do for the rest of our life. So we came back from Africa, we quit our jobs, and we started the Planet D, and that's when we started sharing our story. We had nearly 10 years of travel under our belt by the time we started the Planet D, so people really started to resonate with our story. We talked about our relationship and our trials and tribulations that we went through, and how travel changed our lives.
And back then in 2008, we were writing a lot of long format stuff, a lot of words, not a lot of photos. And, people were coming. They were really interested in the story. And now when you fast forward to where we are now in 2014, the landscape has really changed. People may not be necessarily coming to your blog first. Maybe they're just following you on your Facebook feed, or maybe they're just following you on Instagram. Actually, we were just speaking at a conference in Canada last week, and a woman came up to us and said, "Oh, you guys are Dave and Deb from the Planet D. I follow you on Instagram." It wasn't, I follow your blog, I follow you on Facebook. It was like, she only follows us on one social media channel. So what that means for all of us out there is that we need to be able to tell stories across different digital channels. And that's where storytelling really comes into it, and that's the way you're going to be able to expand your audience. The blog is still important. I look at our brand, the Planet D, as like a house. So I have this house, and the foundation is the blog, and then I have different rooms. I'm building rooms on there, one for our social media, one for our speaking engagements, maybe one for our traditional media, and I'm looking to add rooms onto that. So for us, our goal is to be the biggest house on the block.
Yeah, we feel that travel bloggers are no longer just travel bloggers. They're a brand. And because Dave and I come from an entertainment background, we always, look to celebrities and see how they're doing things. And I often think about how a singer isn't just a singer anymore. They are a brand. When I think of Beyonce, she is so much more than just a person who sings songs. You see her everywhere, across social media, in movies, in magazines, in fashion. And that's where I think that you will really stand apart if you start thinking of your travel blog instead as a personal brand.
So how do you stand out as a brand? How do you have that strong brand? And I think it really comes down to one word, and that is personality. And when I talk about brands, I don't mean like the corporate brands. I think travel bloggers are brands with personalities. That is what we are. And I was having a conversation earlier on this week with somebody about this, saying that I think to be a successful travel blogger, you have to have a personality. And that person was like, that's okay, that works for you and Deb, because maybe that was what your goal was when you started off. But I don't think that works for everybody. And I have to disagree with that, because I think that in everything you do and every piece of content you produce, whether it's on your blog, whether it's on social media, whether it's talking, it's your personality that comes through. And I think that's really, really important. If you didn't have a personality, you could go and be, a technical writer for a pharmaceutical company or something like that. It would be a completely different thing.
And you have to think about blazing your own trail. I love this quote up here because, and Allison said it earlier in her speech as well, that you need to not copy what other people are doing. They're doing what's right for them. They're telling their own story. And you want to find out what part of your personality compels people to come to your website and what you personally love to do. And that will get people coming back to you in all of your channels again and again.
So, what is digital storytelling? Digital storytelling is something that's completely different than, say, writing for a newspaper or a magazine or a copywriter for a blog. It's your personal voice and your personal story. And a great digital storyteller is able to weave both of those things into an experience, into a destination. That is the goal of bringing people in. And, a lot of times I think readers care more about what the person is doing in the destination than the destination itself, because they can relate to that. They can put themselves in those shoes and go, oh, you know what, I can see myself there. So by putting your personality into it and weaving it into your experiences, you're connecting with that audience.
Yes, that's right, Dave.
Sorry. Now, I was chatting with Don George. I don't know if anybody knows Don George, but he is the editor at National Geographic Travel. I was chatting with him a little bit earlier on this year, and I thought he just had the perfect way of describing what a digital storyteller does, what the goal of a storyteller is. And as you can read up there, it says, a goal of a storyteller is to bring the reader into the travel experience you're living so that they are impelled to go with you on that particular journey. And I think that really resonated with me because that's what we all do as storytellers, is we impel people to come along with us on that journey. And by doing that, not only do you motivate them and inspire them to maybe possibly go to that destination one time, but you also inspire them to sort of, look at their life a little bit differently.
And that's what travel bloggers do so well. They tell stories. Something I've been watching all this week is all of the stories that have been coming out of things. We had a very short time and a very busy schedule, and yet I saw incredible stories come out on the internet. I saw Mary Ellen of Breathe, Dream, Grow. She was walking up Sigiriya. I was following her up, and she was having all these moments with a couple of monks, and they were talking and taking photos together, and it was a really special thing for me to watch, and then to see it unfold on her social media as it came out. I went, wow, she has really captured that moment well. I remember reading Leaf's article from Wonderful Wanderings, and he was saying, oh, sorry, Leaf, nope, you're from Runaway Guide. I'm sorry, Leaf from Runaway Guide. Check it out. He has a great article about the elephants. When we were getting charged by an elephant. And as I was reading it, I was like, wow, I feel like I'm right there with him. And then I went, I was right there with him. Wait a minute. And that was the thing. He brought me into that moment so well, and he captured these stories. And that's what all of you are here today because of your great storytelling. That's why you were invited to TBCasia.
And, so from a travel blogger standpoint, when you talk to destinations and you talk to brands about working with them, if you're going to have a story to tell, you got to make sure that you have time to do that and go and find those stories. And I was talking to Sophie from Wonderful Wanderings about this at dinner one night, and she was saying, when I sit down with a destination or a brand, I ask them, so, what do you want to highlight? What is interesting to you? Okay, great. Well, this is the stories that I'm looking at. And then you make sure that there's some sort of convergence that happens so that both goals overlap. So when you come there, you're able to go and tell those stories, and you're able to go out and seek them and find them, because if you're not given the time to do that, it's almost impossible. You sort of want to avoid those trips that are bang, 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 all stacked up against each other, because the less time you have to go and find those stories, the less time you have to tell them.
Exactly. So we thought that we would talk about a campaign that we did recently that worked really well. We partnered with Ontario Tourism, it's a province in Ontario, Canada, if you don't know, our home province. And actually, we met them last year at another travel blogger conference in Toronto. And we sat down with the tourism, the head of marketing at the tourism, and he started showing us a slideshow. So many people, I tell everybody that a lot of times the marketing people don't really know what to do when you sit down with them. So they show you some pretty pictures and say, come to my destination. And we stopped him and we said, that's great, Steve, but you know what? We have an idea for you that I think is going to work great. We are Dave and Deb of this travel blog, and we've been traveling around the world nonstop for 5 years. And we've been sharing, all these exotic destinations with our readers around the world, but we think it's time for us to come home and share Canada, our home country, with our readers outside there, all of our international readers. And he said, hey, I kind of like that idea. Let's explore that. So for the next couple of months, we started nurturing that idea, and we expanded it to other things, and it turned into a year-long campaign where we started to showcase Canada and Ontario as a year-round destination. A lot of people think you can't come to Ontario in the winter. They think if you're going to do winter things, well, you should go to Iceland or Alaska. But you know what? We have all of those great Arctic adventures right in our own backyard. And then we took it a step further, and we made it about our personal story. Because that's what Dave and I are about, our personal story. So we said, let's show 2 regular people. We're pretty out of shape. We've been eating a lot of food.
Speak for yourself.
Well, yeah, well, okay. Fine. I'm a little bit out of shape. My husband's ultra fit. And, and we decided, that we're going to show people that anyone can do it. We learned how to ride a motorcycle. And in 2 months, we took one of the most epic rides in North America around Lake Superior. We learned how to whitewater kayak in May in Ontario. And let me tell you, that water was 9 degrees Celsius. It was freezing. And then we also did an Arctic trek. And we showed people that, hey, if Dave and Deb can do it, and they're really travel bloggers that sit at a computer, anyone can do it.
So we thought it'd be interesting. We'll show you a little video that we did and sort of how we used video as storytelling for that campaign. We'll play. Ooh, yeah.
everybody, it's Dave and Deb of theplanetd.com, and we're in beautiful Northern Ontario. All aboard!
Well,
Wondering how many people from Sri
to get
Lanka
off the train here.
have
It's
had
been,
snow.
I guess, about 8 hours now that we've been on here, and it's dark outside. It's getting dark outside. So, you know, the first day starting off with a little bit of excitement. Now we have to go and set up our first camp that we have no idea how to do in the dark.
Yeah, something I think that is really great about doing something like this is it takes you out of your comfort zone. I have never used a saw before. I have never wielded an axe before. And here I am, chopping down trees, chopping wood. Look at that, filling up.
One of the most exciting things about doing the Missinaibi, you know, you're trekking, you're snowshoeing 100 kilometers from one rail line to the next, but you're doing it all by pulling your own gear. You're doing it on a sled. Your camps aren't set up for you. You come in and you help create that camp every single night. You build your adventure as you go. You know, you're slashing through the trees. You know, you're cutting your own path.
One of the things I was not very good at dealing with was the slush. I literally can't move.
Not only is slush a nightmare on your snowshoes, it's also a nightmare on the bottom of your sled. It collects snow and just slows you down.
Before coming on Lure of the North, I was really nervous about walking on ice. And by the end of it, here I was walking beside these streams of flowing water on these ice shelves and actually having a great time. One of my favorite days was when we were just walking along rapids and looking at the spectacular scenery, and there was open water right beside me, and I couldn't believe it that I wasn't terrified. Woohoo!
When I was out taking photos of the stars, which unto itself, in an atmosphere like this where there's no light pollution, you only have the glow of the tent, you can see the Big Dipper, Orion's belt, and out there taking that all in, and it was, you know, it was minus 35, but I didn't actually feel it. Maybe I was, you know, warmed by the scene that I was witnessing while I was photographing it. It really was, that was one of the most amazing nights here.
Your emotions go up and down like crazy. One minute you're high, the next minute you're low. And I think that's what's important in life, to do something that makes you feel uncomfortable, because when you go back to your real life at home, you start going, you know, I think I can survive this, because if I just survived 100 kilometers in the middle of 30 below weather in northern Canada, sleeping on a lake, I can survive anything.
I think one of the amazing things about doing an epic adventure like the Lure of the North is that you come away with this feeling of accomplishment. When you realize that you can do these things and you realize your ability, then that in turn builds your confidence and builds you as a human. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of some of the content that we produced throughout this this campaign with Ontario, and how video was such a great storytelling tool. You know, and to give you an example, so that company Lure of the North, for that trip, for 3 years they've been trying to sell one spot, and they hadn't sold any, and they were going to shut that trip down. After we finished this campaign, they sold out for this year, and they're half booked for next year already. So it's a great example showing that, you know what, powerful storytelling can motivate people to act. We can put people in seats as travel bloggers.
And this campaign was so successful because it crossed so many platforms. It wasn't just the Planet D blog or our social media channels. We leveraged Ontario Tourism's connection with the media. They went to bat for us, and they got us TV interviews. We were on radio telling about our experience the entire year. We were in magazines, but not just travel magazines. We were in motorcycle magazine. We were in paddling magazines. And it started to become this whole event where people were starting to follow what was going on that didn't even know about us. Yes, our blog did great. It had 200,000 views of our Ontario content come, and they were thrilled with that alone. And the impressions that we had with just our own hashtag, I have to follow my notes or else I'm going to have another wonderful wanderings moment, was we had 21 million Twitter impressions just for our own one blogger. Now, it's really exciting because Ontario Travel told us that this was their most successful campaign that they've had to date. Now, we tell this because not that we're something special, but it was because it was the first time that they ever worked with a travel blogger, and they were just blown away that they could actually gather data, that they could get the amount of page views that we had, that they could find out that the amount of Twitter followers that were reaching it, and the Facebook fans that were commenting and liking, and it was a very exciting time for them.
And not only that, you know, like I talked about Lure of the North getting bookings, but we did 12 adventures throughout the year on this, and every one of those operators told Ontario Tourism that they got bookings from this campaign. So again, it's some very powerful information showing that travel bloggers can have a really great impact in driving consumer decisions.
And we want to stress that this worked because it was a collaboration. We talked with each other and we worked together as a team. It wasn't one person telling each other what to do. Ontario Tourism wasn't saying, this is our mandate and you have to follow this. They trusted that we had an expertise in our own blog and understanding of our own readers, that we could go out and choose the destinations and nurture the story ourselves. But we also trusted their recommendations of what we should do when we're traveling around Ontario. And because we worked together and talked it over and we had regular meetings, it turned into an extremely successful campaign.
Now that's a good example of working with a destination, and I think that tends to be a little bit easier, or than working with a brand. With a brand, or sorry, with a destination, you can go out there, you can write about the beautiful scenes that you see, the interaction and the experiences you have with the people. But when you work with a brand, it's not that cut and dry.
Yeah, but it can open up a whole new world for you. A lot of travel bloggers we've been talking to this year have been saying that they're frustrated with the money that they're making. But this gives you the freedom to make that six-figure income that you're wanting so that you can choose the destinations that you work with. You can relax now, and when you're working with brands that you believe in. I want to stress that that's really important. You need to find brands outside of the travel industry that have the same values as you, that have the same goals as you. And something that we love, like these are the main three brands that we partner with. And of course, we love the American Express card. We always have. We've used it before we even started partnering with them. It's an easy sell for us. We've always booked on Expedia.com. That's been our go-to booking engine. So when we partnered with them, it was an easy sell. And Dave, I think you're looking pretty sexy in your Royal Robins clothes today. In the.
I'd have to agree.
Didn't even let me finish.
Sorry. But sometimes it's not so sexy writing about a credit card or a clothing company. I know when we first started working with brands, it was all about, can I put banners on your website? Can I put links on there? It's about click-throughs and all this kind of stuff. And we've seen a drastic shift from that working with brands, in that now it's all about lightly branded content. It's about attaching it to stories. And so, brands now are starting to realize the impact that storytelling has on driving those consumer decisions. So they're no longer sort of shoving it in your face. They're saying, okay, you know what? Let's weave that into a story seamlessly, and let's find those storytellers that are able to do that.
So we thought we'd quickly highlight a brand that we work with. We've been American Express ambassadors for the past 4 years, to give you an idea of how you can start working with brands even if it's outside the travel industry. And if there's cellular phone companies or anything like that in here, you can start thinking of how you work with bloggers. One thing we never do is we don't tell people, go buy the American Express card and you'll get lots of points and it's great. We tell a story. We bring it back to how it works with our readers. And a great campaign that we once did with the American Express is Realize Your Potential. That's one of their taglines. And they said, you know what? We're going to take all the ambassadors and make you real-life potentialists. And we're going to have you tell stories about how you changed your life and how you live life to the fullest. And instead of selling a credit card, we're going to sell an idea that people need to start embracing the best that they can in life. And then not only that, we started having people share their stories with us. That's a really important part of our travel blog, is to get our readers to get involved. So we asked them to create Pinterest boards and show us how they've realized their potential or how they want to realize their potential. So then it was a conversation between the two of us, and that fit perfectly. We subtly weaved a few things about American Express into our blog posts and our stories, but it was very much just about the idea. And this was, once again, American Express is really great about leveraging media. We were doing newspaper interviews, we were doing TV and radio, and we were even interviewing and partnering with psychologists and experts. So you want to think outside of just the blog and make it an entire media campaign.
And I think that's sort of the running theme that flows through both of these campaigns with both brands and destinations is that, you really have to reach out and try and reach as many outlets as possible. Sure, the digital age and the digital channels are incredibly important, but there's also value there in everybody for reaching out to traditional media channels as well. There needs to be a combination of that in order to reach a wider audience. So we thought we'd just highlight a few of the digital storytelling tools that we can all use, that everybody's familiar with, and sort of some ways that we worked with it and that we've done on some campaigns as well. So obviously video, as you saw in the previous campaign, this is what I consider the best storytelling tool out there. It allows you to show your personality. It allows you to show the destination. It allows it to show your experience, all in this medium that allows you to really relate to the person that's on screen. And when we've done campaigns with people, it's not just about producing videos for our YouTube channels, but from a brand and a destination standpoint, why not leverage the blogger's personality and have them create content that you can use at conferences or for promotion or on your particular YouTube channel. So it doesn't just have to be one-sided. Both sides can benefit from the video content.
And one thing that we also I've been hearing people talk about all week is they're saying, but I don't have time for video. I don't know, I don't have time to learn a whole new system. But you can do smaller videos. Allison talked about Vine and Instagram videos that you can do. And we were talking to Michael Turtle earlier this week, and he pointed out that the new iPhone 6 of Time Turtle Travel, there he is over there, the new iPhone 6, it has iMovie in it. So you can shoot some videos on your iPhone and put them up. And that's really powerful. You don't have to start out doing the long 3-minute segments. Make them 10 seconds, make them 15 seconds, and just get some video to show your personality. So we just wanted to show you a little short campaign that we did with Alberta Tourism. We did a whole series of adventures in Alberta where they said, we're going to send you out and we're going to have you do adventures around the world. Around Alberta. We're going to film it, and then we're going to have people enter a contest so that they can win all the adventures that Dave and Deb did. Yes, they did 3 to 5 minute videos, but they also did little Instagram teasers, just 10 seconds long, and we're just going to show you a series of 3 of them and how effective it can be.
You nailed it! Thank you.
Sorry, you had to see me in a bathing suit. I'm sorry.
The kiddie park. I thought that was a lot of fun.
Because you did a jump.
Because I did a jump.
Yeah.
And I haven't done that in
Your
such a
first
long
jump
time,
in a decade, probably.
Yeah, well, probably. And I think I got about easily, I would say, anywhere from 6 to 7 inches of air.
Nice.
That's
well done.
Hey, baby steps, that's what it's all about, right?
I'm impressed.
Awesome. So that's a little bit of an idea of the teaser videos that we put out when we did that campaign on Instagram, and it was incredibly effective.
And I want to point out that this was in partnership with Expedia.com. So Alberta had leveraged Expedia.com's exposure and their fact that they could send people to Alberta and win the trip through them. So it was this whole great partnership. So it's not only just spreading your stuff out there on different mediums, it's working with different partners and bringing people together to make these incredible campaigns.
And obviously Instagram, this is by far our favorite way to tell stories, and it's been used really effectively here by all the bloggers on the pre-trip. I think, my Instagram feed has been filled with some wonderful storytelling that has gone on, and, to be able to tell a story through images, I think is really powerful as well.
And something I love about this is that you can share it on all kinds of platforms at once. We've had a lot of limited internet while we've been on this trip, but if you put up an Instagram video or photo, you can then send it immediately out to Twitter and Tumblr and Facebook and get it to all your social media channels at once. And one of my favorite things that I was talking about earlier this week, Travis and I were talking about, was how you can write in a description in Instagram. It gives you 400 words to tell a story about that photo. Now, a picture says 1,000 words, but there's something I love when I read about the author or the photographer telling me about how they felt, or they write a poem, or they put an inspirational quote up about there. And and it just makes the more impact for that photo and turns it into a story.
And from a brand standpoint or a destination standpoint, we did campaigns where we take over the brand's Instagram channel or destination's Instagram channel for 5 days, so that your readership gets an idea of seeing that destination through the traveler's eyes, and that had really a lot of impact for sure.
Yeah, and their readers get to see it from a whole new perspective because we're sharing our vision of Oregon or Alberta.
Yeah.
So, and finally.
And then there's Facebook, and I think everybody here uses Facebook. Everybody's got a Facebook page, but we've used it in a storytelling way with a campaign, and I think this is something that hasn't been done a lot and should be leveraged a little bit more. When we went to Antarctica with Quark Expeditions, we decided to run this campaign about, okay, we're going to generate buzz and lead it through. So we started out by getting some stock photos from them and saying, okay, let's put those up and tease our audience, saying these are the images that you're going to see in 2 weeks when we're in Antarctica. So make sure you stay tuned to this Facebook channel to watch that. Then in real time, while we were in Antarctica, we posted to our Facebook page. Yes, you can do that. There is internet on the ship, or there was. We told the story while we were there. And then the final follow-up was that we got them to offer our readers a 5% discount. So after they watched this trip, they got the buzz. They were like, I'd love to book. I'm going to give you a 5% discount if you use this code. And Quark Expedition said to us that it was the most...
Their best investment of 2012 was having Dave and Deb come, or 2011, sorry, come to Antarctica. Now, 5% doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're selling $15,000 to $20,000 trips, that's a lot of money. And they were saying that we couldn't get over how many people were using that promo code. And it was about the stories we told. We didn't make any affiliate money off of that 5%, although in retrospect, we probably should have negotiated that. But, that was really exciting for us to hear, and then they invited us back to Greenland the following year, and we have an open invitation to come back to other destinations with them. So that's very exciting. And all of these people, it's not that we're anything special than any other travel blogger in here. It's just all of these companies that we worked with, it was their first time working with bloggers, so they saw the impact and they were going, wow, I didn't even know the possibilities until I started working with you. And every one of these companies are they can't wait to start working with more bloggers. Oh yes, and now, sorry, I went on a tangent. Our final slide, we're out of time, but we had a little bit of a late start because of our changing computers. Yeah. So this is our final one. We want to talk about Twitter. I've talked to a lot of people this week who have said that they're disheartened with Twitter, or that they don't have time for Twitter, and they don't really like Twitter. But we find Twitter to still be one of our most effective storytelling tools, and it drives a lot of traffic to our website. It's actually our second most popular referrer. But you have to use it properly. We did a campaign earlier this year with Ireland Tourism where we were the first media to do the entire Wild Atlantic Way. And we planned out our tweets. We said we're going to do 5 to 7 tweets a day telling the story of what we're doing each day. Now, we would start off with a beautiful sunrise in the morning, saying good morning to everyone and waking up. And then we would start telling them information. We would say, for the best place to get sunrise, go to this cliff at 7 a.m., here's how you get there. You'd start doing these tweets. But we also made it a conversation. We asked people where we should go, what we should do. And then all of a sudden, within a couple of days, the whole country of Ireland started getting involved. People were going, hey, are you coming to Connemara? You have to come stay at my castle this week. We're getting invitation to castles. It was insane. So the things that were happening was incredible. And Ireland, once again, it was their first time working with bloggers. They were so excited with the results. They invited us back again. We were there a couple of weeks ago doing Northern Ireland.
So I think the lesson there is find out what the destination or the DMO really resonates with on their social media channels, and then focus on that while you're in the destination, because it can not only help you grow your social media channel, but can also bring new readers to your blog and help them raise their profile as well. So another
Yeah, you want to talk about what strengths. As Allison said earlier, Australia is all about Instagram. Ireland was definitely all about Twitter. So you want to talk to the destination and say, what's your social media channel that really resonates with your readers?
So I think that hope that gives you guys a really great idea of sort of how digital storytelling works on different campaigns and how you can implement it from not only a brand standpoint but also a travel blogger standpoint. And we always like to say that, this is a really exciting time to be a travel blogger. We're on the cusp of a lot of things, and it's a time to be innovative and creative. And if you can do that and you work with destinations that are receptive to that, you can have a huge impact. So thank you very much. If
And
there's
that-
any questions about anything, please come see us at the coffee break, and yeah, we'll chat about whatever you want to talk about.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave and Deb. I think all of us in this room has a lot to learn from their experience in working with various destinations as well as brands in promoting our products and brands. Now we are going to take a short coffee break. Actually, it's a bit of a long one. We will actually offer an opportunity for all of you to network with the bloggers as well during this time. But of course, keep in mind that in the evening, we have a very organized speed networking session. But you can use this time as well if you want to speak to the speakers, especially because some of them will be leaving a little early. So when we are back, just a small announcement that the hall will be broken into 2 tracks when we are back. On my right hand will be the smaller track, which will be for the travel bloggers and those interested in starting up their own blog. And the bigger track on the left side will be for the industry participants, where we will have a lot of industry-related content being shared by some of our expert speakers. So take a break and be back in about 40 minutes. Thank you all.